Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Juliette Dawn. Welcome to the Finding Revival podcast.
Hello.
Okay, so you have a really amazing travel story, and it's very unique. So I can't wait to learn a little bit more about it and share it with everyone. Start out with a little introduction on your family.
Yes, so we're a family of five, and we have a dog. It's three kids. My youngest brother, he's 10, and then another one, he's 12, and then I'm 15 as well. And then our puppy, and he's so energetic
Amazing.
and so cute.
Amazing. I love it. Okay, let's talk about your life before traveling.
Honestly, I feel like it really hasn't changed much. So we've been very outdoorsy, like camping family. Like we lived in Colorado, so we were like out in the mountains a lot. And we always
Amazing.
homeschooled too. So I feel like our lifestyle really
Okay.
did not change other than the small space.
Okay, that is really interesting. So you've always been homeschooled?
I've always been homeschooled. I went into school just for half a school year in kindergarten, but I feel like that really does not count.
Yeah.
So I don't usually tell people because I'm yeah, I've been homeschooled my whole life. So yeah,
Yeah. What is your take on homeschooling? Like, would you ever go to public school? Like, do you feel like you're missing out? Like, what is your feeling on that?
honestly, I used to rebel as a kid. I used to be like, oh my gosh, I want to go to school so bad. I'm gonna go
Oh
to
my
high
gosh, me
school.
too.
I know. I feel like that's every homeschooler. But now that I'm here, I just love being able to spend my free time doing other things and not just being behind a desk all day.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, I've also never been to school, and I feel like you go through phases of being like, oh, I want to do these, like, maybe like the
Mhm.
sports at school or like extracurriculars, but then like
Mhm.
ultimately, I don't know, having like hobbies and stuff like you said is just like way more my vibe right now.
School is just so time consuming.
It really is. When did you start traveling? Why did you guys want to travel in the first place?
It's always kind of been my parents' dream to just get a vintage trailer and just pack up and just leave and just explore. So, I feel like that's kind of where it started. And we had family members as well that were like, oh my gosh, we want to do this. We want to go traveling. So we were just
Hmm.
kind of let's do it together. So we both kind of renovated our stuff and we just left.
I love it. Okay, so when did you guys pack up and go?
I think it was 2021 because we traveled for 3 years. So yeah, I think
Okay.
2021.
Amazing. So you guys got your cute little airstream.
Yes.
Okay, why like an airstream over like bus RV?
Honestly, I have no idea. I think my mom I think my mom just thinks they're really cute and I don't know. I'm definitely a bus girl. I'm so into all the
Okay.
buses and but we got stuck
Yeah,
with
I'm
Airstream
obsessed with
because
airstreams. They're so cute. Like I just
they
love them.
are so cute. I do love them. I will say they're adorable.
Okay, so you said it was 2021, so you would have been how old?
I think I just turned 12.
Okay, so being 12 years old, what was your like, I don't know if you remember the conversation, but like,
Oh,
was
I
it sprung on
definitely
you?
do.
Okay, okay, because I definitely remember mine.
Oh
So,
my
like, why
gosh.
don't you go into detail, like, if you can, on like what, as a 12-year-old, like, what did that feel like to you?
12 sounds so young, but I've always been very mature and just kind of had myself very together. So
Yeah,
when my
same.
parents told me that we were gonna go for it originally was 1 year. So we were they were gonna go on this big trip and we were gonna travel and sell our house and get rid of all of our things. I was pissed. I literally fought with my parents. Like, I told them that I hated them. Like, I thought that they were the worst,
Yes. Oh my
that they
gosh,
were
same.
great.
Like, we decided on this trip a year before we left, and I was like, that was my teenage like rebel moment.
I
I was like, I am
know.
literally running away from home. Like, I can't with this.
I know. It's like I'm living somewhere else. Like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
move to my friend's house. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, no. And
Okay.
I rebelled against it too for like the first two
Mhm.
years of traveling. Like, I would say it
Yeah.
wasn't until the last year where I was like actually like enjoying it, or like I think just because like I like my mindset like matured, so I could actually grasp like
Yeah.
experience that we're having. But yeah, the first 2 years were rough, complete rebellion.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so when did you guys left in 2021? When did you meet all of the like when did you become part of this community?
Oh my gosh. So we actually did not become like a part of the community like for a while. Like, we went into like our first event like this year in February.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that was kind of like hard for us because we were like missing community. But like we met some
For
families,
sure.
but like
Yeah.
really like getting into the travel
That is just
community, it definitely
so
took us a while.
important. Yeah. Would you say that that's like made a huge difference then?
For sure. Like, honestly, like I now that we've gone, like I couldn't imagine traveling like without the events.
Yeah.
We just started like feeling like so lonely. Like, I had no travel friends. So I think the events like really, really helped.
Yeah, it made like literally all the difference to me because it's so isolating to have
I
like no one your
know.
age around and then you meet all these people and it's just such a blessing for
You're like, oh
sure.
my gosh, I know. And now like 60% of my friends are all travel friends from
Yeah,
community.
same, literally. I like have more friends now than I had like at home.
I know, me too.
Um, okay, let me see. So, you said that the first like 2 years were like the hardest. What, like, why don't you talk a little more about like what specifically was hard about it and like how you coped with those things?
I think mainly just like the first chunk was kind of hard, just like getting used to like living in there. Like, I feel like you like think you like adjusted to it, and then like you just like still after a while are still just like it's almost like this like bump in your road. You're like, oh, like I'm still need to do this. Like, it's just not normal.
Yeah, it feels very temporary.
It does. And I think just like the mainly like struggling with the 2 years was just like we just did not have like any friends. So we were starting to feel like really lonely.
Definitely. It's so hard to pick, especially when you've traveled full time for so long, but what are some of your favorite places you've been to? Like that can be
Oh
states or
my
like if you
gosh.
remember like specifically in those states, but
You
like
know, we
yeah.
have been, I think we've been to like 48 states.
Yeah, that is
Um,
amazing.
my top three, okay, my top one I know immediately would definitely be the Grand Tetons. Um,
That is like what
we're
everyone says. I'm dying to go there.
Oh my gosh, they are so pretty. I feel like they're actually like pretty underrated because Yellowstone like is a big distraction. Like, you think of like national parks in
Yeah.
Wyoming and you're like Yellowstone, but it's like no,
Yeah.
there's the Tetons. So pretty. My second favorite, I would probably say like the Oregon coast,
Oh my
or
gosh, yes, that is like definitely my top three. It is
I
amazing.
know. I also loved like the redwoods and like sequoia, like just like the big trees. I'm a really
Seriously.
big tree girl.
Yes. Yeah, that
I
is
also
so
just really enjoy
cool.
like the Florida Keys.
I actually love Florida, and I've never been to the Keys, and I'm like dying to go.
Oh my gosh, you need to go. The water is so clear. It's just so gorgeous.
I am like plotting a trip to the Keys currently. Like, I am just dying to go.
No, you like literally need to go. Like, it is definitely one of my favorites. Y'all need to make your way down to Florida
That
Keys.
is what I'm hoping. I'm like making this whole like plan.
I'm crossing my fingers, y'all go.
Let's talk a little more like favorite travel memories? Like if you have any like specific things that come to mind.
I just like love hiking like with friends. Like I feel like when I go back and like think of like all like my best moments is all just like spending like time in the woods like with my friends.
Oh my gosh, right? It's the best.
Literally
Yeah.
my favorite. And just like paddle boarding trips too. Like you will
Me too.
catch me in
Oh
my
my gosh.
swimsuit tanning.
Yes, they're the best. What are some of your favorite paddleboarding places?
That's a really good question. There's this lake in the Tetons. I think it's called Jenny Lake. And the water is so deep, but you can literally see all the way to the bottom and you can see the Teton Mountains on the lake. It is so
Stop.
pretty.
That is gorgeous.
I think
Ugh,
it
I
was
need to
definitely
go
one of
there
my
so bad.
favorites.
Okay, what is somewhere that you like really want to go? Or like a couple places that you're just like
Oh my
dying to
gosh.
go?
I
Maybe
really
like,
want to go to Europe
yeah, oh my gosh, for
or like
sure.
Spain too. I just really want to go. Like traveling, I think it would be
Yes.
really cool to like ship your bus to like, Europe.
Oh, right? Seriously.
Hmm.
Let's talk about some highs and lows of travel. I don't know, like if you can think back to like some of your really low points of the whole traveling and like then high points where you felt like, oh yeah, like this is all worth it, like that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna go with highs first. It was definitely just like the experience and like just being able to like see like so many different places, like just being in nature and seeing so many like new like views.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely
Yeah.
like a high for me. Lows, I would say just being in such like that small space with everyone is
Mm-hmm.
definitely a little draining. I feel like I'm really like lean towards other people energy wise. Like if someone's mad, like the whole rest of the family is mad, you
That is
know.
exactly how we are too. Yeah.
And just like the relationships, I'd say too, is like kind of hard to like keep up with. But I think that's really good though, because then you could like see like your true friends, like which ones stuck and like which ones didn't. So honestly, like
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
kind of a high, honestly, too.
For sure. Yeah. Definitely. Let's talk about what your life looks like now because you've had some really exciting life changes lately and I want to hear like
We
all the details on that.
I know. So my life is completely different now. We settled down and we live on like a cute it's a homestead to be. It's not a full homestead yet. We don't have animals yet or our garden 'cause it's not planting season. But we live in a really cute old farmhouse
I
now
don't
and
even
it's
think you
so different. Like
understand
I'm
how
honestly
jealous I am. Like that is seriously my dream. Like you were just like living the
I
dream right
love
now.
living out. I love living out here in the country. I'm still processing it. Like, we'll just pull up and I'll be like, wait, like, I like live here. Like, I don't live in an airstream anymore. Like, I'm just known for like
Yeah.
being at travel. But we are still taking trips like in summers and like for events and stuff. So I don't know. I'm still grasping on that.
Yeah, for sure. So what made y'all decide after 3 years of travel to settle down?
That's a good question. I think we all just kind of started to get over it. It's kind of hard, like when
Mm-hmm.
you've seen, like we did like I think like two or three like full loops around the whole country. So after we like seen everywhere a few times, we just kind of like, I don't know, we kind of like, okay, like we've seen this before, like we've done this. And also too, my mom was like, it is important that Julia like experiences like her teenage years. And like I'm 15 and like a half or something. But
Yeah,
like
me too.
so like, I definitely am like getting to that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think we also just kind of settled cuz like I'm getting to like that stage like I'm going to get a job, like I want to drive, like I'm going out with my friends all the time. So I think that's definitely why we chose to settle down.
Yeah, so y'all are in North Carolina? Is that right?
South Carolina.
South
Yeah.
Carolina. Okay. So why did y'all choose to move there?
I think it was just like really like the people and the community. Like everyone is so sweet here. We wanted somewhere too where we could just like be like within like an hour like from the ocean, but still
I
like
love that so
have like be
much.
surrounded in trees too. And like South Carolina just like had everything that we wanted.
That is seriously amazing. Let's talk about like faith and community. Have you guys found a pretty good like church and all of that in South Carolina?
Yeah, we definitely have like we've connected to like a really good church, and like we all go to youth groups now. Faith too, like on the road, I would say, is like was definitely like difficult because you can't just like have like your home church.
That
So
was
it
my
was
next
definitely
question was how you, yeah, worked through that.
no, we used to call it like Church Across America because there were just like so many like interesting churches that we experienced. And I actually loved it, like just seeing like what's gonna happen next Sunday.
That is
But no,
seriously so cool. Yeah, that's a really cool experience too.
it really is. It's kind of nice too because then I feel like you have to like learn to like focus on like God, like yourself, like be more like independent on it. You
Yeah,
know,
I
when
feel
you
like you
can't go to
build
church every
way
week.
deeper of a relationship
Yeah, I
with
totally
him and
agree.
like all of that. Yeah. So, have you and your family always been pretty strong in your faith and all of that?
Yeah, we've all, like, me and my siblings have all grown up in, like, a really strong Christian household. So that's kind of, like, always how I was raised.
Do you have any like tips for other teenagers or just people in general on staying close to God and strong in your faith when you're not like in a church or when you're more isolated on the road?
I definitely do. I feel like there's times where you're just gonna, like, it's hard to like commit, so like you'll definitely like fall out. And I feel like that's kind of like hard
Mhm.
too, like as a teenager. Like there's just so many things that like are like normal for a teenager to do. And so I feel like not having like a church just to like go in and just like release all of that almost like makes it like seem like not as bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like just like learning to like, do that independently on the road, like by yourself, is a big step. But I think like for the teenagers who like decide to do that, like, even if like you're having like a fallout with God, like literally just doing that is almost like shows your commitment to
I
God, like
totally
while
agree
being
with
on the
that.
road.
Yeah. That
So
is a
yeah,
really interesting perspective. I totally agree with that. And that's definitely been my experience that, like, your story's already written and all of that. And
yeah,
I feel like traveling was one of those, like, examples of that. Because, like you said, you just grow so much closer to God being on the road and having to build a much deeper relationship with all of that.
yeah. No, I totally agree.
Do you have any other things faith wise for traveling?
My dad is really big on like teaching people like on the road. We've done some like just ministry stuff on the road.
Okay, so let's talk about future plans. What do you see your life looking like in the next, like, I don't know, like 5 years, I guess?
Oh my gosh, so my parents laugh about this like all the time because again, I was like, this life sucks. I never want to travel. Like you guys are awful. I actually want to like move out into a bus.
Me too.
I feel like it's
Me
like a lot of
too.
like teenagers do. Like they're like, this is awful, and then they do it for a while, and they're like, okay, like I'm buying a bus.
Yeah, except I want like a cute little sprinter van and like
Oh my gosh,
which
that's
is
so
so
cute.
ironic, like, because I hated this.
I know. I know. I want to like renovate a bus and like go travel. So that's
That is
definitely like what I
amazing.
want my next 5 years to look like is just like getting myself like together, getting the bus, building it, and traveling in it.
Absolutely. That is so cool. I love that.
I'm a roll with the flow kind of person.
That's such a good quality to have. I feel like I traveling is like the reason that I'm more like that, but I have never
hmm
been very good at that. So
Yeah.
that's a really good quality. I talk about this a lot, like being a teenager, especially 15. I feel like you're like right on the cusp of like I don't know, like being a like for real like teenager and like driving and
Yeah.
like all of that. Do you have some like tips for other teenagers?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm still like trying to figure that out myself.
Yeah.
Um, I would say just like focus on working like on yourself. Like I feel like that like really helps when you're just like almost like lost or like trying to like be like that person. Like really just
Mm-hmm.
like focus on yourself and like maybe like your relationship with God.
It takes so long, and I'm not even close to being there, but like you said, like finding a good relationship with God and then working on yourself and like stuff like that, knowing yourself is like the biggest tip for like your
It
teenage years.
really is. I know it's kind of hard. Like I feel like being a teenager, I've done the trouble, I've done the mess. I feel like you just
Yeah.
kind of learn from it. Like I feel like everyone's going to go through that once. So I feel like if you are going to fall into it, do it, but like work on bringing yourself out of that. It's hard, but like you'll get there.
Yeah, I
And that's
totally
kind of
agree
where
with
I'm at
that.
now. It's just like self-improvement.
Yeah, I really love that. I totally agree with that too. Do you have any advice for other parents of teenagers who are in this lifestyle or not? Like stuff that your parents did to maybe make it easier for you, or maybe stuff you wish they did to make this lifestyle easier for you?
I think like hearing from like other teenagers, or I mean, maybe just not like my personal experience. Like, I feel like a lot of teenagers like have parents just like sit down with you and just like ask you like, hey, what is this travel life like how's it going like for you? Like it's like I know it's my dream and like this is what I want to do, but like how are like you going through this? And like a lot of people will be like, oh, like I miss my friends. Like work together on like going to communities, making friends, like going into travel stuff. So I would say definitely just like be considerate and like open, just open up with like your kid, because I feel like teenagers really lean and help each other. So I feel like really just like get
Yeah,
into your kid and other teenagers and communities.
100%. Yeah, those honest conversations truly just change everything. Like, that is a really good tip. It's so hard to think through because it's like they only have one life too. And so it
Yeah, and
feels
like you're
so
both living
weird.
life first too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, some hobbies that you have on the road. I feel like that's such an interesting thing to get to know people. What are some things you've found to like keep yourself entertained on the road? Or like, why don't you talk to me about like a typical week in the life when y'all were still traveling?
Okay, that's a good question. I would say I really got into like jewelry making. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
a typical week though is just like going like slow mornings. Like I love cooking. Like I love just setting my grill like at like wherever we're at and just like cooking breakfast like with a view. Like that's my favorite. Like I've
Right?
really
Oh my
gotten into
gosh, that's one of
cooking
my
now.
favorite things too. Yeah.
Yeah, so tons of grilling and tons of food and like focusing on like school, but then just like being able to like spend all your free time like outside. Oh, I'm bored. Like instead of going on your phone, like I'll go paddleboard a lake. I'll go hike around this like mountain that we're camped on.
Yes, I love that. Would you say that you like your alone time? Like that's something that's really important to you?
It really is. Like I'm big on alone time. The only alone time you get as a teenager is when everyone is sleeping.
Oh my
Like
gosh,
you're in
seriously?
your
Yeah.
bed. And like my parents, not really my mom, but my dad is like, you need to go to sleep at like 9 o'clock. Like I'm
Yeah, and you're like,
15,
I need
get
some
out of
time.
here. So I think that's definitely a big thing.
Yeah.
So definitely sleep schedule, I would say, is not amazing on the road. Like that's definitely a
Oh my gosh, that is
sacrifice that
something
gets
I have
put in.
learned. You just do not have one. Back home before we started traveling, I hated being alone. Like I would avoid being alone with everything in me. It was so weird. Like I would
Mhm.
always fill it with like watching a show or like calling a friend. And
Mhm.
now like I've really found ways to enjoy it. And I'll sit out in the car by myself and like read my book and listen to music or like
Sitting
something
in the
like
truck,
that.
sitting in the car is so real. Yeah.
Yeah, that is like the biggest part of bus life at this point.
That was, like, definitely, like, one of my favorite things of traveling is my dad put a sound system in his truck, so it's just, like, a new hangout spot where, like, alone time, like, the nice, like, bass with my music, a good book in my hand,
Yes,
like,
that is really
literally so
great.
amazing.
Yeah, I love all these tips on like romanticizing like being alone. Like that is just truly so important. Um okay, let's talk a little bit about like you said you like to stay up late. How is your Airstream set up? Like, how is it possible for you to have that time alone at night?
Okay, so our Airstream is 24 feet, but that's including like the outside hitch, like our bumper box. Like
Mm-hmm.
inside, it's really like 20 feet and like 8 feet across. Like there's no slide outs or anything. So it's
Yeah.
really small to fit a family of five and a dog inside. So mainly like the sides, like one side of the Airstream is like we have a pull-out bed and the boys share a bed, and then on top is a top bunk, and that's where I'm at. And then you like walk straight into the back, which is our bathroom. And then the other side of the wall of the Airstream is like closet and all kitchen. And then like the front,
Mm-hmm.
like you have like just a few feet in the front, and we have like a table that pushes down into a bed. So it's a table in the daytime and then a bed at night. And we all kind of just like work around. We have a curtain that can like separate it. But that's like really it. Like I didn't have a curtain for privacy either. So like anyone just could look over and I'm just like right there. Like we never like had any privacy. Like the only time you're going privacy
Yeah.
is like you want to go pee.
Yeah. Yeah, that is super
So
real. Yeah, we just put in before this trip like two sets of doors. So like the bathroom door folds out and so it covers like the back part of the bus and then another bed that separates my parents' bedroom. So I sit like in the kitchen almost until like super late every night just like reading my book and like hanging out. Yeah,
love
that is
that.
okay. That is all the questions that I have. This was such a fun episode. Like I feel like I learned so much about you too. Like this is
I
this
love
is so
that.
cool. Yeah, like it's just as much like for me as it is for like all the people listening. It's just amazing. I'll totally have to have you on again sometime too in the future.
I loved being here and just like teaching like other people like how it is to like be a teenager like traveling. It was really amazing.
You're
Thanks for
so
having me.
good at that. Yes, thank you for being on. I totally appreciate it. You have been such a strong influence on like teaching me how to like love this life and like
That is
on
so
just like all
sweet.
things, like being a teenage girl and like having a relationship with God and like all of that. You just taught me
I
so much and
literally
I
love that. I
love
love
that.
talking to you about that too. I'm
I
like,
love talking to
oh
you
yeah,
about it.
like
Yeah,
really.
well, I'll have your socials links. Y'all should go follow her on Instagram and all of that.
I'm pretty cool,
But
guys.
she's pretty cool, guys. All right. Well, I will talk to y'all in the next episode.
Bye.